All right, guys, so let's talk about adjectives that appear after linking verbs. So, adjectives, they can appear after linking verbs. End of story. Just kidding. There's a little bit more to it. The adjectives are called predicate adjectives. Why? Well, because they appear in the predicate of the sentence. That's right, the predicate of the sentence, which, starts with the verb and ends with the rest of the sentence. Okay, remember the sentence is split up into two sections. One is the subject, the next is the predicate. The predicate, again, contains the verb and the rest of the sentence. Okay, so if an adjective is a predicate adjective, then it appears after the verb. So that's what makes it the predicate adjective, because it appears in the predicate of the sentence. They tell about the noun or pronoun that serves as the subject of the sentence. So let's take a look at the first example. The restaurant was crowded. In this sentence, the restaurant is our subject, was is our verb, was crowded is our complete predicate, okay? And notice this adjective, crowded, describes the restaurant. It helps to modify the restaurant and make it more clear, okay, it explains more details about the restaurant. That's what an adjective does. It describes things, okay? So the restaurant was crowded, and crowded in this case is our predicate adjective that describes the restaurant. The next sentence says, it was hot and noisy. If we find the verb in the sentence, notice that the verb is the linking verb was, okay? The subject of our sentence is it. We don't know what it is referring to because it's our pronoun, okay? Maybe it's referring to the restaurant in this case, but it's still taking the place of the restaurant, so it's our pronoun, it, okay? It is our subject. Was hot and noisy is our verb in the rest of the sentence, which makes it the predicate. Hot and noisy are both adjectives that describe and help to make clear what it is, okay? So hot and noisy in this case are our adjectives, and they're called predicate adjectives again because they appear in the predicate. Okay, let's take a look at part A. Part A tells us to underline each predicate adjective. Underline each predicate adjective, and then draw an arrow to the noun or the pronoun that it describes. So there are two steps to this one. We need to first underline the predicate adjective, and then we need to draw an arrow to the noun or pronoun that the predicate adjective describes. Let's take a look at the first one. The weather is wet and cold. Let's find the subject of our sentence. Our subject of this sentence is the weather. You're right. Okay, so now let's find our verb. If you said is, you are absolutely right. Our verb is. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because that's not part of our directions. I just wanted to point that out to you. So our verb here is, okay? Is our verb in the sentence. Now, we need to underline each predicate adjective. So now I'm looking for what the weather is. What is describing the weather in this sentence? What words are being used to describe the weather? What words are being used as adjectives that are describing the weather? Well, wet and cold are being used in the predicate to describe this weather. Okay, so wet and cold are our predicate adjectives, and now we need to draw an arrow to the noun or the pronoun that these describe. What do they describe? You're right, the weather. They describe the weather. All right, take a look at the next one. The sky looks dark. What's the subject of this sentence? If you said sky, you're absolutely right, okay? What's the sky doing in this sentence? It looks dark. Looks is our linking verb, okay? So let's find the word that helps to describe the sky in our predicate then. Dark. Dark is our word that helps to describe the sky in our sentence. Looks is our linking verb. Sky is our subject. Okay, see what you can do with 3 through 6. In part B, the directions say to complete each sentence by adding predicate adjectives. Complete each sentence by adding predicate adjectives. The first one has been done for you. All right, so now in this sentence, in these activities, all we need to do is add adjectives that help describe the subject. The coat was thick and warm. The two adjectives that were added to this sentence were thick and warm. If you had just the coat was, you would still need adjectives, predicate adjectives at the end to help complete that sentence, because the linking verb links the subject to the descriptors. My friend is, what are you going to say your friend is? A book should be, what should a book be? In part C, write 2 sentences containing predicate adjectives. Use one adjective that describes color and one that describes size. Okay, so you need to make sure that you really follow the directions here. Write 2 sentences containing predicate adjectives. Use one adjective that describes color and one that describes size. Okay, so if we're writing 2 sentences containing predicate adjectives, we're going to need one sentence that describes color and one sentence that describes size, or you're going to need 2 sentences, each part describing the color and the size. I'm going to go with the second option where I'm using 2 adjectives in one sentence. Okay, I'm going to use one adjective that describes color and size when I talk about, well, let me see, I'm going to talk about my car. My car is a small, notice that describes the size, gray SUV. SUV stands for Sport Utility Vehicle, just in case anybody wasn't aware. All right, so in one sentence, I used one adjective that described color, gray, and one adjective that described size, small. And notice that I used them both in the predicate. My car is the subject, is my verb. The predicate, remember, is the verb and the rest of the sentence. Okay? Make sure you don't say the small gray car is mine, because in that case, small and gray are coming in this before the subject, before the noun that they are describing, which do not make them predicate adjectives. Your predicate adjectives need to appear after your verb. Take a look at the rest of these to give you some ideas if you are having difficulty figuring that out. Okay, have fun.